So I just want to welcome everyone to our December pitch event here at VANTEC. My name's Aaron. If you didn't already know, Lindsay is at the back. Ashma and Ayush were helping you at the front there. And so excited to showcase some really exciting businesses for you today. I just want to start by acknowledging that it is with gratitude and respect that we are gathered here today on the ancestral and unceded territories of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh nations. We've got some amazing partners and sponsors that we wouldn't be doing this today if it wasn't for the great support that we get from all of these amazing sponsors. A little bit about VANTEC. So this is our 24th year. We're almost at our quarter century. Next year will be the 25th anniversary of VANTEC. We're proudly a group of 180 plus investor members, and we have supported thousands of companies since inception almost 25 years ago. We have steadily been seeing a lot of investments come through our partner funds and investors into the companies that have been pitching it at VANTEC, and we want to see this number grow, and so we need to be reporting this back to different groups, and I'd really appreciate everyone to respond to the investor survey that gets sent around, just to let us know what you've invested in, who. We've cut it back and try to make it as short as possible. It's like 4 questions, 3 questions, and it's all aggregated, it's all confidential. So really would mean a lot if you could fill that out for our members. We have a couple of community announcements to make. So a really exciting one that is happening tomorrow, 3 to 5 at the SFU Venture Labs. I'm not sure if it's this level or upstairs, one of the two, but it is to really learn from a number of really experienced lawyers, and we've got some great collaborators with SFU Venture Labs, VANTEC, Hubspace, Accelerate IP, and really getting into your licensing decisions. So if you are an entrepreneur or you know an entrepreneur, definitely sign up for that one. And then the Western Angel Investment Summit is coming up at or in the spring next year. This is such an amazing opportunity to just network with so many different people in the ecosystem. I've met some amazing people at the last one, and so definitely recommend getting your ticket. It's also hosted at the Oak Bay Hotel, and you get a really great discount at a room there, and it's one of the nicest hotels I've stayed at, so definitely recommend. Another thing, on top of the community announcements, we want to give the stage to any of our members that have any deals going on that you're doing due diligence on or trying to close out. Any events that you think would be great for any of the other members to be coming to, or programs that you found really helpful. So if you'd ever like to make an announcement, please feel free to come up here and make the announcement. Give me a heads up before, or don't. So I'll pause for a moment, see if there's anyone in the room that has anything on the go that they think would be great for the rest of the members to tell. Please, yes, come on up.
Hey, everybody. My name is Greg Hill, Director of Business Development at Keiretsu Forum Northwest and Rockies. And we have a luncheon coming up next Tuesday. It's going to be at the Steamworks Brew Pub just right across the street. It starts at 12:30. You're welcome to come if you're an accredited investor. Please do bring your guests. There's no cost, so we'd love to have you come. It's in the Uber room, so it should be pretty good. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Greg. And as well, Keiretsu is a great partner of ours as well, and certainly recommend looking at becoming a member if you are not already a member of Keiretsu. So I'd also like to invite Jackson up, who is involved in our startup visa program, to tell us a little bit about that.
Thank you, Aaron. Yes, we have an exciting event for everyone. If you are a VANTEC, full VANTEC member, you can attend tomorrow's event. It will be sent to you later today. It's a Zoom link, and you get to hear the greatest and the newest from our members who are trying to bring in foreign and very promising foreign entrepreneurs into our company to benefit the local angel ecosystem here, and they're very well versed. They have wonderful companies. Mike has been to our events, Aaron has been too, and they all agree that it's a must not miss event. So if you are a full VANTEC member, you should expect to receive an email with a link, and then you can register. If you're not, you can go to www.vantec.ca/events, and there'll be a site, and you just follow the prompts on the calendar to register to attend the event. Thank you very much.
Great, thank you so much. Yes, very dialed events. I can attest to that. Next, we really do find that the feedback that you give to these entrepreneurs is so invaluable to them. Even if you're not looking to invest in them, any feedback that you have about their presentation, what they're presenting, their business in general, any network connections that you can make really would mean the world to fill out our form either online, or you may have received the paper copy here. I know we're trying something new here and we don't have the tables, so we've got the online version as well for you to be showing your interest, giving feedback. So please, anything is very much appreciated there. All right, so without further ado, let's get into our presentations for today. We've got 8 90-second introduction presentations, and we also have 5 5-minute presentations as well. So I will invite David up to the front here to introduce Strawberry Fields Interactive.
I'm David Grattan. I'm here to introduce to you AXIA, and we're going to be unlocking the immersive entertainment opportunity in virtual reality. First, want to talk about our team in the pedigree. Eric Kiss, our head of R&D, was a founding member of Distinct Software, and as well as Big Park Games, which were then acquired by Electronic Arts and Microsoft Studios. Our product architect is Danny Castro, started one of the top 5 XR companies in Latin America, which he also recently exited. And myself, I have 25-year pedigree in studio and product management. What we are building is a new category of entertainment. We call it Netflix meets Steam. Now, if you're unfamiliar with that, let me paint the picture for you. So imagine watching a movie from inside the movie. You're wandering around, you get to interact and see what's happening. And at any time, you can take over the character of a player. So imagine watching Hunger Games and then taking the role of Prim. The story now shifts to one of a coming-of-age movie that kind of ends like My Girl. Or you're watching Forrest Gump, and you take the role of Jenny. And now the story becomes one of an abused woman's road to recovery and redemption. Or what's really important for me, taking over the role of Luke Skywalker and fixing the absolute travesty that is The Last Jedi. Yeah, you agree. So today's ask is simple. What I'm looking for is investors who invest in the entertainment industry, or if you know those people. And if you do, please come and meet with me and help us build a completely new category of entertainment.
All right, fantastic. Thank you so much, David. That was Strawberry Fields. Next, I have Rustam from TUKTU Care. So I'll hand over to you.
So we all have aging adults, and aging is inevitable. But with aging comes isolation and a challenge to find help. When I speak of help, I'm talking beyond medical care. Things like driving to the doctor's appointment, or setting up technology, or just an extra pair of hands to help around the home. This is compounded by the lack of formal caregivers and the extremely high cost of at-home care agencies. So we decided to build TUKTU Care, a community platform that gives access to seniors and their family members to find best fit companions who are safe, trusted, and local. The product, now live in British Columbia and Alberta with over 2,000 users, uses artificial intelligence to match people based on language, proficiencies, preferences, allowing family members to set up dynamic care plans, do assessments, and manage care from a distance, giving them feedback and transparency. The AI essentially goes in and substitutes a lot of manual repetitive tasks, making the cost of care really affordable. We've really done well last year, grown 5 times without many or really little marketing spend. And we have a great team and wonderful investors. Some investors like Techstars, the Center for Aging and Brain Health Innovations, Circle Innovations, syndicates. So today we're looking for more partners to help us scale across Canada. So folks, managing aging parents or aging loved ones can be hard, but it doesn't have to be painful. Come talk to my friend Komal or myself if you want to know more. Thank you.
Excellent. And we are killing it on the timing here. So well-rehearsed, well-practiced presentations. Next, I'd like to introduce Richard McCullough from SLIPSTREAM to introduce us.
Thank you, Aaron. I'm going to introduce SLIPSTREAM today. This is about a new high-speed paradigm in marine transportation. Marine transportation has more than 1 billion tons of CO2 emissions per year. The process is slow of getting goods moved and people moved around, and highly consuming of fossil fuels. The solution is created through a trimaran with fans in the bow, lifting the hull out of the water, but it recovers all of that lift energy as thrust. This eliminates the drag you have of boats going through the water, and it allows it to have vastly lower energy use and a 90% reduction in CO2 emissions. This is a 32-foot prototype that's been built and run, and so we know it works. Compared to the competitive technologies, not only is this more efficient and faster, it has lots of other benefits. For example, not killing whales with whale strikes under the water, and it is fully amphibious. The markets are large and plentiful. We're going to have to be selective in our beachheads, which will be in ferries and military. It's part of the $175 billion marine industry. We have support from the Canadian Coast Guard. We're in discussions with the Royal Navy, and we have a ferry company that we're negotiating with at the moment. The economics for a ferry customer are very compelling. Half the operating costs with twice the revenue. It's a no-brainer for these people. Our plan, 18 months to build the first minimum viable product and 30 months to have a larger, very high-value product. This is our monthly burn plan. And on our team, I am leading this group. We have the core inventors of the technology. We have the chief engineer from the Royal Navy, Andy Khan, who's a specialist in hovercraft. And we have the support cast as well. What we're looking for is $1.5 million to $6 million pre of common stock.
All right. Next, I'd like to invite Mike Rodenberg up to introduce us to SQUAREKNOT Analytics.
So I'm Mike Rodenberg. I am co-founder and CEO of SQUAREKNOT Analytics. We operate at the intersection of fintech and marketing research. This is our leadership team. We have 70 years of combined experience in the marketing research industry. There's a fourth person that we just signed this morning, is the former CEO of Ipsos Canada, which engineered the $120 million acquisition of the Angus Reid Group. He's an advisor on our business. Pretend you're doing a market research survey. In the past, and you were asked this question, in the past 3 months, how much money have you spent at each of the following restaurants? I bet you can't do it. And people cannot guess accurately when we ask them in surveys this type of question. And yet billions of dollars a year are spent on marketing research surveys, which ask questions like this, and they're completely flawed. Our solution is one-of-a-kind budgeting app that combines the ability to track your finances inside the mobile app while also participating in market research surveys for cash. So this is the value proposition for the user, where they have this best-in-class application that they can use for free, and we'll pay them $25 for the first survey and $1 to $5 for every survey after that. We have a distinct advantage in the market research industry with better data, and we're projecting $1 million in revenue next year. We are pre-revenue. We will be in the App Store in about 2 weeks. We have 5 LOIs signed. This is actually a week old. The REMA might be a $500,000 recurring contract next year alone. We're raising $900,000. We have $400,000 committed, and we're using it for a combination of some finishing product development and then obviously scaling infrastructure, sales, and admin. So if you want to know more, I'll be back.
All right. Next, I'd like to introduce Anish Anand for Workforce Wellness.
My name is Ashish Anand. I'm the founder and CEO of Workforce Wellness. We're a B2B SaaS startup. We're building the the workplace technologies that will power the workforce of tomorrow. Our focus is on healthcare at the moment. I just want to thank Aaron and Mike and VANTEC for having us. If you're interested in the full pitch deck, the QR code will get you there. It'll be repeated at the end. With that, let's get started. So due to high stress, high burnout, nurses are leaving the healthcare system. This is causing a massive nurse shortage. There's 95,000 unfilled positions as of the beginning of this year alone. This is a massive problem. It's costing employers lots of money. Most hospitals are spending millions, if not tens of millions, in agency fees, recruiting fees. It's a #1 challenge for every healthcare employer in Canada and the US. So what's going on? Why is this happening? So the current solutions that are in place are not built for this type of challenge. They're basically record-keeping systems. We believe that burnout can be prevented, but only if it's caught early. We're using AI to actually detect symptoms. Do you mind? To detect symptoms early. And we also provide employers, enable them to offer personalized support to every employee to actually prevent the issues that they're dealing with today. We generate revenues, recurring revenues, based on the number of employees on our platform, and we also take a cut from service providers on our platform. We have the right solution at the right time for a large and growing market. We have worked with some really big companies. We're starting pilots with some major healthcare players early next year, which we're really excited about. We're an OEM play. We're not going direct to market. We're going through partners. We've got some in the bank already, and others are on the way. We've assembled a really fantastic team with deep bench experience in SaaS, enterprise software, digital health, and AI. We are also supported by some amazing advisors, which we're really fortunate to have. We're raising $450,000 in our goal of $1.6 million for this round. We've already raised 1.15 from some amazing investors and funds. And we're looking for other great SaaS investors to come join us on this adventure. You can get the deck here. I'll be around if you want to chat. Thank you so much.
Next up, we have Gautam from TENZR Health. And TENZR Health, I believe, just won the Impact Health Challenge with Spring. So that's really exciting. Congrats on that. I think that was announced a couple of days ago. So
TENZR Health is a Mayo Clinic-backed AI digital health company improving outcomes in physical medicine by harnessing the power of gamification. 1 in 2 adults suffer from musculoskeletal impairments. Not only are these painful to deal with, more importantly, these patients get very little guidance other than limited time with their providers during in-clinic sessions. This leads to a lack of motivation and certainty, reducing compliance, and ultimately reducing outcomes. We've put together a stellar team to address this problem. We're experts in quantified health, wearable technologies, physical medicine, and most importantly, scaling and exiting medical device startups. TENZR empowers providers to extend care outside of the clinic. Our patented medical sensors, it works there, sorry. Our patented medical sensors quantify patient progress, turn the rehab exercises themselves into games, and we calculate the shortest AI-driven recovery path, and that's presented to the patient in order to keep up motivation and certainty. Since we last presented at VANTEC, we now have a fully operational commercial FDA-listed medical device that is tripling patient compliance in the field in real-world scenarios. We have contracted with clinics and are increasing revenue by 20% at all of our customers because we are fully reimbursable in the United States. And finally, we've got massive growth potential ahead of us. We're actively closing contracts on a monthly basis, including at some really large institutions like Mayo Clinic, UCSF, and Cedars-Sinai in LA. Finally, we're raising $1 million. 70% of that has already been committed. We are EBC eligible. We've got some room until the end of the year. So if anyone's interested, please come and catch up with me later. And I can give you a demo as well. Thank you.
And I see that you have a deep dive session happening tomorrow at 2:30. So anyone that's interested, follow up with Gautam on that as well. All right, next I have Philip to introduce us to ANDION.
I'm Philip Abrari. I'm the CEO of ANDION, and I'm a serial entrepreneur. This is the 3rd company that I've been involved with founding, and my colleague here, my co-founder of this business.
Daniele Chiodini. I'm the Chief Technology Officer at ANDION. I'm an environmental engineer by background, and I've always been in this industry my entire career. A few years ago, I moved to North America to start this business with Philip, and we are in the renewable natural gas space. So we develop and deliver solution to convert organic waste into renewable natural gas. So any type of manure waste, it's put into a digester, which is a big tank, and converted into renewable natural gas that can be injected into the gas pipeline, converted to power, or used for the maritime industry to reduce carbon emission.
So the company has about a 30-year history. It began in Italy as a company specializing in wastewater treatment and then morphed into building anaerobic digestion plants. So there's a lot of IP and know-how in this business. And in 2017, I was hired to basically form the North American part of this business, and Daniela joined me at that time. And we've worked, but in 2023, we decided to demerge the business. So the European side is going to go a separate path, and the North American side will continue on as by way of a management buyout. So myself and Daniela and two others are taking this business over and carrying it on. The business in itself has a host of IP and know-how, but also there are 8 advanced projects in its pipeline. They will be at FID between 8 months to 18 months from now, and 2.5 million gigajoules of total capacity, and so that capacity on the market today is worth around $1 billion, having that much RNG capacity in production. And the other thing of note is that 86% of the projects we've developed and the capacity we have is specialized in the agricultural feedlot industry. So we have very special inroads into that industry because of a bunch of R&D and work we've done over the past couple of years. Again, some technologies as well that complement what we do. And we're right now looking for seed financing on this business. So we're going to raise $1.5 million at a $3 million pre-money valuation, which will give us enough runway and progress time to be able to do a more significant raise that'll happen sometime in 2024 of another $5 million. Thank you.
Next up, we have JEVITTY. So I'll hand over to Ryan for introducing us to JEVITTY.
Get to see my dog. I want to take 30 seconds up front, and I wanted to offer a personal thank you, and it's to Mike Volker. So 21 years ago, I pitched to this group. I raised money. I raised several $100,000. I took a company public, and Mike made a difference to my personal career, my wealth, my ability to be an entrepreneur. So I wanted to say thank you to Mike. So thank you very much. Appreciate you. Okay, let's start the clock. Okay, JEVITTY, what is it? Okay, I'll leave you 3 ideas because you adults can only take in 3 ideas at a time. We have scanners, we have clinics, we have 4 of them in Vancouver right now. We scan people and we get data about them. We have an app that's already built. We display this app and we engage people through this app, and we engage a lot of people with it. So first of all, I'll give you something free. So you're going to walk away with something today. You don't have to invest much other than your time. Come to the clinic and try it. That's the way to learn about this business. We offer you to come to the clinic, use the code VANTEC, get a body composition scan, get a bone densitometry scan, learn about your body, get a baseline, and then you get a free scan in anytime next year when you come back to see how you've done. That's the way you'll learn about this business. So what are we? We help customers who want to direct their wellness. Essentially, it's a group of folks that are interested in assessments and data about themselves. We have products. We have a consumer platform. We aggregate all this information, the information from your watch, the information from your smart devices, the information from your scan, all comes together. We produce an interesting JEVITTY score. It's an example of some of the engagement that we're doing. The clinics are growing. We're doing about $500,000 a year in 4 clinics, so you can do the math. We're doubling that every year. We raised revenue in those clinics by 50% last year. Our target market, well, I'd like to say it's adults over 50, but typically what happens is we're getting a lot of folks that are younger coming to the clinic that want to intervene earlier in their cycle. So it's a large market, you can guess, but basically lots of clinics, lots of affiliates selling with partners, and the app. That's it. Jerry's away at the Buck Institute this week, so he asked me to come and present, but we're going to come back a little later on and we're going to do a presentation in January, so we're looking forward to giving you the whole pitch. But please come to the clinic in the meantime. You'll learn a lot about us. We'd love to meet you in person, have the consumer experience, and then we can go from there.
Thank you so much, Ryan. I appreciate it. That was great. And $200 for a scan seems very reasonable. And then you get a free one next year. So you take a benchmark now and get the updates next year as well. Love it. Cool. Thank you so much. All right. So that was the end of the 90-second presenters here. We'll give a round of applause for the 90 seconds. And then next up, we have Greg from GECO. He's going to be calling in for this presentation. He has a very good reason as to why he's doing that. So I will let you share your screen there, Greg.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Right. So good day. My name is Greg Stewart. I'm the founder and CEO of GECO Engineering. My colleague Devin Kirk is with you in the room. Hopefully he can wave. And we are an ag tech company, and we're achieving something that's kind of unfortunately rare for ag tech. We're getting traction on farms. So 8 months ago, we had pilots on 3 fields, and today we're on 35 fields across 4 provinces and now 1 US state. And by 2025, we'll grow to 1,000 fields, breaking even and reaching 1 million ARR while still having plenty of room in the market. I would like to present to you in person, but I'm in Banff at the Prairie Cereal Summit to present GECO to an audience of 200 potential customers, which is obviously a very significant number at this point in our sales growth. So a typical 10,000 acre farm can spend about $500,000 a year on herbicides. Now, the weed control is difficult to assess over large areas and multiple years. So at GECO, what we're doing is to find issues early and nip them in the bud. So we currently provide 2 benefits. First, a prediction of where weeds will emerge next year, enabling targeted action. And second, to detect where resistance to herbicides is evolving in the weeds before the problem spreads across the field. Now, people sometimes ask us about the imagery, and this is important, right? So we'll always source satellite data, and when there's imagery from drone or optical spot sprayers, we use that to sharpen up the modeling. However, the main issue in this use case is scale and not precision. GECO modeling using satellite imagery shows that it has the history, frequency, availability, and price, and has sufficient precision to enable this use case. Case in point, here we're comparing drone and satellite data for modeling weed patterns. And as you can see, we're getting similar patterns for a single image. But satellite will furthermore have dozens of images per season and a field history extending back 9 years, all of which is essential for understanding how weeds and the weed seed bank are growing and spreading throughout this field. Now, how all of this works, right? So GECO ingests imagery and crop and management data. Our first model creates a 5-year history of weeds in the field, and then we make a prediction about where weeds will be emerging next year. We then provide a standard shapefile that the farms load as a prescription into their existing equipment and then use to make a targeted application. This will hit 90% or more of weeds while using only 50% of chemicals and saving farms about $12 per acre. So our business model is really straightforward. Of that $12, the farm pays us $5, and they put the other $7 in their pocket. So the farm gets a positive ROI on the very first use of GECO with no new equipment or new practices. And here's one example from the fall. So I spoke with a farmer on a Wednesday while he was driving his sprayer. He decided to proceed on the spot. So then we ran the analysis, and he was putting herbicide in the ground by Saturday morning, right? So it was, this stuff can happen very, very quickly. Now, this low barrier for farm adoption explains how in our first year, we reached 24 farms across 4 provinces. And we've got a couple of typical quotes from our growers on the up on the screen here, right? Basically, there's a big appetite for being more targeted in their crop protection, chemicals, and budget. But many of them are not interested in spending several $100,000 on the complex optical spot sprayers that are GECO's main competition. In the short term, GECO is selling direct to the people on the front line of weed control, farmers and agronomists, to ensure that we nail product market fit. Then we move to a channel which can dramatically extend our reach, and we're engaging in pilots with 4 channel partners now. Our short-term growth gets us to our first 1 million ARR and break even by 2025. And then as we engage in a commercial partnership, we see very different growth trajectory as we can reach 1 million fields and $1 billion revenue, which is still only about 10% of the global market. There are 2 billion candidate acres in the world with interesting markets in Canada, US, Brazil, and Argentina. And our team includes myself. I've got 20 years experience bringing similar software and data products to new markets. Our data scientist, Devin Kirk, in person with you today. He's an expert in modeling these biological systems. Our scientific advisor knows everything about weed biology and control. And to date, we've been contracting our software development to get to our current minimum viable product. Regarding the moat, right? So to protect the technology, so far we filed 2 patents and we're filing more as needed. And we want your help to move faster, right? So the more fields we execute on, better our models become and the more market that we're going to be able to take. So we're looking for $350,000 in dilutive funding for the next 18 months. And this will get us to our first 1,000 fields, 1 million ARR, and break even for the company with a fully scalable product and a commercial partnership. So we're aiming to close our fundraising in January, and I look forward to discussing with you. And Devin will remain in the room for questions during the follow-on period here. Thank you very much.
Greg, and do just have a quick question I'd like to ask you, if you could stick on the line there. I see here it says 24 farms. I believe you're up to about 35 farms now. Is that correct?
So we're about 30, I think it's 36 fields and 26 farms, right? That might be the numbers that you're thinking of.
And so I'm curious about your plans, your strategy of how to go from the 26 farms that you're in right now to double that to 52 farms. What's the strategy behind that? I mean, obviously with a great 50% conversion rate, you just need to get in front of those farmers. So what's your strategy there?
Yeah, yeah, thanks. Well, I think a good start is the event that I'm at right now. So tomorrow morning, I'm speaking with 200 growers and agronomists to pitch the concept at the Prairie Cereal Summit. Now, beyond that, we're doing outreach to different prairie research groups, be able to give webinars to different groups across the prairies, and also engaging with agronomists and ag retailers, right, to reach our first. We plan to reach our first 100 fields by spring of 2024.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Greg. Good luck at the conference, and we'll see you when you're back in town.
Okay, thank you. Take care.
All right. Next, I'd like to introduce JEVITTY of LITTLELIT. And
okay, so imagine a world where learning is designed for one instead of all. Hi, I'm JEVITTY, and that's Sachin, and we are the founders of LITTLELIT. LITTLELIT is the world's first child-led AI learning app. So we have been live in the market for about 3 months now, learning and growing fast, and I'm excited to showcase the business to you today. Okay, so a little bit about ourselves. We are parents of 2 kids who are hugely different in the way that they learn, and that's why we have a first-hand sort of view of the pain points that our kiddos face today. That, along with the fact that we have career-long experiences in building tech products, both in startup as well as global scales, makes us an excellent fit to build an AI product for kids. Going into our team, other than us, we have a talented team of 5 with developers and marketing folks working for us. And we have 3 great advisors who help us round out our understanding for ed tech, ed design, as well as business. So that's, it's a really energetic group, and we are, happy to move forward. Going into the vision for LITTLELIT, so we have a very simple idea. Every child is unique and they learn in different ways. And so we want to give the learning in the hands of the child, as opposed to a teacher or an adult trying to sort of guess their mind and make learning interesting for them. In a sense, create a world where learning is designed for that one individual child instead of the entire cohort of kids. So with that, let's get to the big problem that we're trying to solve. So there's a lot of apps and content out there, yet kids are still quite uninspired. Content is typically repetitive and static, and it just can't hold their attention. And that's very obvious from the 96% churn rate that kids' apps face today. And the reasons are that these apps cannot sustain attention for those kids. And there needs to be a different approach to solve this problem, and that's where LITTLELIT comes in. So what is LITTLELIT? LITTLELIT is the first child-led, child-leveled, and child-centered AI learning app. So we start with the child's unique ideas and interests, whatever they feel engaged and whatever is authentic to them in that moment. And then they go on to build their own games and own stories based on those ideas. So this creates fresh, new child-led content every single time that they play. Sounds wonderful, right? And how do we do it? So apart from generating the power of using the power of generative AI, our true superpower is our algorithm, which evolves alongside every child. So what it does is, as the child interacts and plays with the app, it is soaking up their learning styles, their psychology, and their preferences. It's also soaking up what is authentic to that child, and it's getting better and better at it as time goes on, giving us long-lasting competitive edge. So let's talk a little bit about the competition. Obviously, there's plenty of apps out there in the market, and they're all trying and failing to sustain a child's attention. So the reasons are pretty clear. You have impersonal curriculum-based apps. You have the same static and never-changing games. So every day, the child is playing the same thing. And parents are getting ho-hum standard usability reports, nothing more than that. We differentiate ourselves very clearly here. Instead of that same content, we have that limitless child-led content. Every single time the child plays, it's dynamic, it's fresh, it changes with their moods. And we have true, deep, real insights for parents. For example, we track moods, and we are able to provide parents with the psychological trend of the child. So we are already seeing in our early usage 15% retention, which is a lot more than the competitors out there. We've hit the ground running, and we are feeling a lot of love from our users. There are 3 key insights that come out. The first is LITTLELIT has become a daily habit. And that's great because that shows engagement. Second, kids love driving with their own content and ideas, and they are 10 times more engaged when they do so. And the proof of that is already in the last 3 months, we are seeing 10,000 plus stories and games already created on the platform by kids. So it shows that the kids really love and engage with it. Going into a little bit of the opportunity, this is obviously a very large market. And if you think about just North America, there is over 10.5 million paid users for kids learning apps in North America. And our first year goal is get only, I say, about 21,000 out of them. And that gets us to a 735K in ARR. We would be able to get to a break even in 2.5 years. And by break even, we feel that's also self-sustaining, not just cash flow positive. This is just a little bit of a sneak peek on our unit economics. If somebody is curious, obviously it's a SaaS business, kids age 2 to 10, and we are right now offering it at $699 per month. So where are we at and where did we start, right? So over the last 6 months, we have spent our time building out the MVP, getting a lot of market feedback, and getting more understanding of how we distribute this app and how our funnel should be built. At this point, we have a confirmed beachhead market. We have steady conversion to trials, and we have our early paid users. So in the next 12 months, the goal is to continue our growth and achieve our targets of growth, as well as get to that full-scale sales launch and get into the repeatable sales model where we know how our funnel is moving and how we are going to get more and more users with time. So let me get to the ask. We are raising 420K Canadian dollars in pre-seed round of investment at a $4.2 million valuation. We primarily want to spend this money continuing the product development, hiring some key staff members, and most importantly, continuing to fuel our growth and marketing. We believe that this gives us a runway for at least 12 to 18 months, and we will be able to hit our growth goals with that investment. That's about it. Thank you. And if any questions, I am happy to answer.
All right, I do have one quick question, if we can go back to the slides here, but really impressive traction that you've been able to gain already. Obviously with 10,000 stories created, I think you've got 1,000 users, 1,200 now since we last talked, which is really great, and a 15% retention rate over the 4% of the incumbents in the industry. So my question is similar to that of GECO in how do you get to 10,000 users? How are you getting in front of your customers?
Right. And so that's sort of A great question. Thanks for that. So it's the next milestone, 10,000 and then 25. So that's our sort of on our board right now. If you think about it, we are drowning in opportunity. There's so many parents out there and we don't want to get, thinned, like basically just spread ourselves too thin. So we have 4 things that we are doing that we kind of emerged out of the last 6 months of testing. The first thing that we are doing is consistent Instagram and LinkedIn outreach. I know you are, LinkedIn is a surprising one here, but a lot of parents are a lot more invested and in the right frame of mind when they are on LinkedIn, and we are seeing great conversions there. The second one that we're using is micro influencers. So I don't mean the big ones, but we've already engaged with 3 and we saw great conversions within 24 hours. So our goal for the next 6 months is to do at least 100 of them. And that I think gives us a lot of effect. The third part is shareable user content. So that really, really works well. Parents say that the best way that they essentially download an app is through word of mouth. So we want to make sure that there is user-generated content, and we're building features to offer that platform. And then lastly, we are working directly with schools and with parents to try and get the word out there and get bulk purchases. So we are working everything from winter fairs. I think we did about 6 already. It's been a busy winter season. And then pack partnerships, moms group partnerships. That's the way that we feel that we'll get that bulk going fast. So I think hopefully if we continue down that road, we should be at 10,000 soon enough.
Very exciting. Thanks again. Amazing. Dipti from LittleLit. All right. Next, I'd like to invite Ian Macbeth up to introduce us to NAEGIS.
I'm sure that there's many of you sitting out there that, like me, know people that have serious eye diseases like macular degeneration, diabetic neuropathy, and it leads on to blindness. Many of these people are not treated because the treatments that are available are not particularly pleasant. So it's a real problem. This is an area in which NAEGIS believe we made a breakthrough and can change the focus of this type of disease and the way in which it's treated. At the moment, the major therapy for treatment of these severe eye diseases is by injections into the back of the eye of substances called growth factor inhibitors. Almost all the eye diseases are driven by inflammation, and inflammation causes these little tiny blood vessels to grow, and then they burst in the eye, and then they give problems clearly as the worsen and the eye goes on to blindness. The other therapy, which is mainly used in the front of the eye, is steroids. But steroids have limitations on how much you can use it because they actually give further side effects within the eye. They cause glaucoma and cataracts. And so there really needs to be some other therapy. And yet this very underserved market is actually valued at $30 billion. So it shows you just how big the market opportunity is. We have, or David Burgoyne, who's sitting here at the back, has discovered some oral and topical therapies which work through a previously undiscovered or underexploited pathway, which is that of the leukotrienes. Now, leukotrienes, according to the increasing scientific literature, are one of the major stimulators, the genesis of the eye disease, and they maintain this stimulation of inflammation, and so the eye problem gets worse. What the lead compound from NAEGIS, N0651, does is it blocks this cascade of stimulation of the release of leukotrienes right back at the early stage. So one of the early enzymes that's released when there's a stimulus, which eventually causes the leukotrienes to be formed, is actually blocked. Now I can show you that this actually in reality, what you see on the left is a cornea. So this is the front of the eye, which has been inflamed, and behind it there is this structural damage. When N0651 was administered, and these are in animals, of course, you can see that it returns to a very healthy looking cornea. So this is our drug given orally. Our drug given by topical administration, and here we're talking about the back of the eye, so topical going to the back of the eye clearly is something that's quite a breakthrough. You see on the left, this is normal, the normal retina, nice straight lines of the layers. Where there is inflammation, you get this thickening, the layers are disrupted and you get inflammatory cells released into the fluid of the eye. On the right is that the retina after treatment with the topical administration of N0651. The commercial side of NAEGIS has some significant people involved with it. In fact, not just the commercial, the scientific side. Dave Burgoyne is at the top. Below him is Dr. Phil Davis. Phil Davis was for 25 years head of inflammation research at Merck, focusing on novel mechanisms of anti-inflammatories, and therefore has been a great stimulator of us going towards the leukotrienes. On the left-hand side at the top, I would point out Julian Ganguly. Julian is our chairman. Julian was head of North America for Allergan, which was the largest eye care company, and he was part of the team that sold it a few years ago for $66 billion. So Julian certainly knows how to unlock shareholder value. We are thrilled to say that we've actually got a partner that we're now working with. This is Aura. Aura are the world's largest clinical research organization. They're going to help us through our clinical program. They're actually going to run the clinical trials on our behalf. This is a partnership. This isn't a paid contractor. And they have multiple sites already throughout North America with multiple clinicians. And they believe our first clinical trial they can get completed within a 5-month period. This is the sort of the steps to commercialization, the timelines. The red star there is put up there because just last week we received a notice of allowance of our patents from the US Patent Office. So we've actually got good protection on the compounds. At the moment, we're looking for $2 million in a seed round, and that will get us through to the IND, which is the drug application that you make to the FDA. And we're working with Aura. Aura will be leading this. We then start our first clinical study within a year. And this should take about 5 months to complete. Obviously, there's the looking at the data. But the red stars below it show there's a second study and then marketing approval. Each one of those stars is a potential investor exit point, because either you can, there may be an IPO, but I think this, if you've actually got a product that orally and topically can replace injections into the back of the eye, there will be a significant amount of interest in accessing this technology. So we believe that there is an opportunity for early exit for investors at good multiples. So our seed round financing, we're raising $2 million. That'll give us about an 18-month runway, a pre-money valuation of 5.5, share price therefore is 75 cents. We've already got about $500,000 already softly committed towards our target. We're looking to close at the end of December. That is not far away, but we are going to do a full investor presentation here in Vancouver next week, Tuesday at 3 o'clock. We have invitations on the desk over there. If you'd like to come along, Julian Ganguly will be there, Phil Davis will be phoning in, and also the head of Aura will be present as well. So good opportunity to see a much more detailed presentation on the company and help you in your decision making on financing. So thank you very much. Any questions? I'm happy to have.
So you got to the point I was going to bring up here for everyone, which is that investor hold. This is not the typical hold for a business like this. You have those key milestones that there are opportunities for an investor exit. And I think it was 2 to 3 years that you had said. Maybe you could talk a little bit more about that. We'll go back to that slide just because I think it's a very key point with this business.
Okay. Yeah, thanks for raising that, Aaron. People think of pharmaceuticals as long-term clinical trials, and the actual exit is many years out. That is not the case with early-stage biotech companies. Biotech companies are obviously, we would all like to grow into the next AstraZeneca, but that is clearly unrealistic. We are looking therefore for an exit, which might be an IPO, and that will then lead on to an acquisition, or it might well be an early acquisition itself. If you have a product that there are more than one pharmaceutical company want it, 2 or 3 of them, you can imagine the price and the value goes up. And obviously the board will, at the time of any acquisition approach, would look at whether that is the right time to take the exit, or whether to build on that and go to a second or a third master. So the timelines are not as short, are not as long as you might think in biotech healthcare. Does that answer the question?
Perfect. Yeah, that's really helpful. Thanks again, Ian. That's great. All right. Next, I'd like to invite Daniel up to introduce us to You and Me Studio.
Remote collaboration is broken. And we know this to be true because Microsoft and Zoom are bringing their teams back to the office. And that's because their tools were purpose-built for presentations. Presentations just like this. One person speaking to an audience, one person sharing their screen at a time. And that's great to replace the boardroom. But it's not great for collaboration. And so those professionals out there who have to get together to problem solve, to show each other the work, there we go, to show their work, to problem solve, to optimize, to sell to their customers. They don't have a tool for that. Have you ever tried learning something in Zoom, something complicated? It sucks. It's even worse for the person who's training because everyone has their cameras off, their microphones are off, you can't see their screens, you have no feedback, you're teaching into a void. It's exhausting. Yumi Studio is a purpose-built platform for collaboration where everybody can bring the items that they're sharing, gather around it, and interact together at the same time. And that's critical. When we're doing this together, we're actually truly collaborating. So take, for example, if you're an engineer working on an electrical plan for a building, and you want to meet with the architect and the project manager and maybe the client. In Zoom, you'd be switching screens back and forth, back and forth. You would have no engagement. You would take turns presenting. With Yumi Studio, everybody brings everything they need into the same place so we can have a conversation together. Now, for trainers, people who would typically bring in engineers, fly them into their office for high-end live training, right? We spend a lot of money on that for those professionals. Yumi Studio can spin up a complete training environment in the cloud, streaming the latest hardware and software directly into your customers' browsers. What that means is you don't waste time configuring people's machines. You can get that same high quality experience of being there in person, leaning over people's shoulders, taking control of the computers. Now, in the last 12 months, we've been validating and really focused on validating our technology and whose problems it solves. And we validated this with some of the biggest companies out there across finance, education with LSU, games, Undead Labs. And what we found, I just wanted to make a little announcement for Chris Stairs in the back. Last month, we just added another $75,000 of ARR from 2 new customers. So we are focusing our beachhead right now on technology companies who sell software that's often complex, requires high-end workstations, and that forms a barrier to them not only engaging with their customers to give them an experience, but to train them as well. So NVIDIA, a customer of ours, is using Yumi Studio to power their workshops where they're not only training customers, they're training their partners like Slalom and Deloitte on how to use that technology. Well, we see a network effect come out of that because Slalom and Deloitte now know how to use Yumi Studio and they want to start using it with their customers. So we're focusing on those tech companies. We're early. We're just crossed another 2 customers to that list. The way we work is basically usage-based. If you're inside of Yumi Studio using a computer streamed from the cloud, you're paying $10 an hour per participant. We're seeing an average deal size starting off in the 10 to 25K range, with a projection for that year growing to anywhere from 40 to 100K plus. Our focus right now is for the next 12 months, where basically we're trying to hit that first $1 million of ARR, and we're leveraging the fact that NVIDIA is using us and introducing us to their customers, and they're filling our pipeline for us. So we're going right after the highest quality, largest companies out there because we have a backdoor to get into them. Now, I talked about superpowered. So over the past 3 years, we've been with funding from NRC, IRAP, and with UBC researchers, we've developed some proprietary IP around facilitation and how to supercharge that with AI so that trainers can get and work with larger audiences, get more engagement, and as well as to supercharge collaboration. I'm not going into the details of that. We have a patent strategy around it that we're going to be implementing next year. My partner and I have worked together for over 15 years at the most creative and highest technology companies. We know how to take technology from the earliest stages, ship products with it, but we also understand how people collaborate online, how game studios and companies build products with people working remotely around the world. So we have a deep background in that. We're raising $500,000 now. We have 20% committed. Again, that funding is going towards building up our first $1 million of revenue. And through leveraging brand partnerships with NVIDIA, as well as our product development, which is going to start to see some of those early AI IP technologies get introduced into the product alongside with the patent protection that we need to build that strong moat around collaboration and how we do it remotely. Thank you.
Very interesting. And I am curious, as I am probably a lot of the people in the audience here are not your target customer. I'm wondering, what are you hearing from these target customers? And an additional, if I can sneak another one in, great sort of names and logos that you have as customers already. Who else do you have in that pipeline?
And this, as part of our validation, something interesting happened. So Undead Labs is a game company. They're using us for collaboration with their engineers and artists. In the past 3 months, we've already seen a 10x increase in the number of people using it. And the feedback from them is it just works, right? Like we're finally able to get together and spend time together working remotely. And so they'll be in there for hours and hours on a time versus their Zoom calls. And they said they're looking at replacing Google Meet as their go-to platform. NVIDIA and some of these other tech companies, you would think that they would have solutions for how they, engage with people remotely. The answer from all of them, or the feedback from all of them is, it's simple. It just works, right? Their customers show up, they get the machines, they get the hardware, everyone's looking at the work at the same time, and they're just kind of like, why didn't we build this before? Or why haven't other people done it? So the simplicity of what we're offering, just everything that we need at the same time, same place, it's been an aha moment for people. And so we're really excited about that. And we know that it's unique to us because the other platforms were built for something else. From the ground up, the architecture was designed and optimized for it. We came at it from a completely different angle with our background and experience. Yeah. In the pipeline, so you saw Slalom was in there, Deloitte. Last week, NVIDIA started training 150 of their partners in Europe with us. Those meetings those training sessions lead to more people coming in as well. So really, it's these high-end enterprise customers, big service solution providers that are filling up our pipe right now.
Yeah, really exciting technology. Obviously, ease of adoption is absolutely key with something like that. So next, I'd like to introduce Jarrett with WAMAME. So I will hand over to you and let you take it away.
I'm last, so bear with me. Thank you for everyone coming here. And I know the food's starting to smell back there and people are probably getting hungry, which is a good segue into what I want to talk about. Because how many people here buy food, right? I buy food all the time. But why do we buy food? We buy food because of convenience. We buy food because of taste. We buy food because of a preference. But more importantly, we buy food because we want value in the food that we buy. And protein is the #1 driver for value for food and food products. So WAMAME is a food tech company, and we've created some technology that's actually going to disrupt how we introduce protein and use it in food. And to give you an example, me and millions of people like me go to Starbucks for breakfast. And what I do is I quickly do the math on the menu items and I deduce what product gives me the best protein, the lowest calories for my best price. And I end up on these egg bites all the time. The meat egg bites. Why? Because it gets me 19 grams of protein for 300 calories. That is my best value for my dollar and my best health choice. Now, what if I could tell you, you could get the same product for 30% more protein for half the calories at the same price? Well, the answer is you can't. That technology doesn't exist and you cannot make those type of products unless you're a food company, tech company like us that's gone and redesigned how you can offer protein. The last year and a half, we have worked with leading food scientists, food development companies, universities, and we have created a proprietary super high protein, low calorie meat alternative. This product, I'm not going to get into the details because I don't want this flashing red on me, but basically the secret to our sauce is we use a proprietary blend of inputs on a proprietary way of how we process and extrude that product. And we use 100% agriculture isolates in a way that no one else can do that. That results in an immediate market first competitive advantage. Our proteins are 64% higher than ground beef. We can now offer the highest protein solution per dollar for a variety of food options. I can compete with this protein bar okay? This protein bar, I buy it because it's got 20 grams of proteins for 190 calories. On a macro level, our technology can beat that, but we can beat it with formats of burritos, wraps, chili, soup, salads. Why is that important? Because that's the foods people want to eat. That's the things that are happening. No one I know can do that in the market right now. So we're going to go attack the $90 billion snack, health food, ready-to-eat convenience market. And we're doing that because A, the products don't exist. These products, the macros we can put out and the people that want that do not exist. But we also know there is a market for that. We put out a survey recently, not only to everyday consumers, but to buyers to this market. 96% said they're actively looking for these products and would buy them if they were available. So when we approached them with our solutions, they didn't believe that could actually happen. So that's why we're going down here. The next thing we also know is we could be a solution for any food manufacturing company or chef that wants a high protein, low calorie solution for their customers. So now we're talking about retail. We're talking about private label. We're talking about hospitals. We're talking about military. Yes, those conversations are actually happening with this product line as we speak. So are we getting traction? Absolutely. So we introduced this just softly earlier this year, this concept, and we have secured a handful of universities. We've secured the biggest subscription food manufacturing company in Canada. We've got a few resorts under our belt now. We've got about 50 retail and restaurant locations across North America. And the reason we did that is to flip a lot of switch, and it actually turned on a lot of the infrastructure we needed for the company and built that out already. But we wanted to go bigger, so we actually wanted to develop and present concept solutions for larger companies. We did that at the end of the summer, and we're now going to be piloting and trying with 2 national companies across Canada, larger universities throughout the States, larger resorts that are happening with us, and more importantly and more excitingly, we're now in conversations with international companies and national retail private label companies that actually want to revamp and introduce high protein, low calorie solutions to their private label line. This is the movement that's actually happening. Think about it. Retail loves that curtain. They want to show segregated, specialized products. It's happened with organic. It's happened with the plant-based products. They want to do a high protein, low calorie space in their retail. We want to own that market. We want to own that with them. When we're talking to these people, they're interested in working us with that. But I couldn't do this without our amazing team. Okay? We have over 50 years experience in the industry. We also have scale experience, startup experience, technical experience. We're a very bought in and committed team. Literally, all of us have written checks into this company ourselves to get this going. So as we kind of touch the market and introduce this product, we're getting a seat at the table with every major customer we talk to as soon as we talk about this. So we know we're on point. We know we're on trend. So it's not opportunity that's lacking in this company. It's capital to execute. So we're asking for about $600,000 at a $3 million pre-valuation to launch and commercialize our products. That will give us about 12 to 18 months runway, which allow us to develop, execute, and secure all the opportunities we had in hand. Those opportunities, just what I've been talking about, relate to several $1 million in revenue in the near term. And the kicker is we've also recently secured a $2 million Protein Industry Canada non-repayable, non-refundable grant to our company. So as we get investment dollars, and as those investment dollars go into revenues, we can draw down those funds for the next 2.5 years. For every dollar we spend, the government will kick in almost 50 cents as a reimbursement for $2 million on that product, on our products. And it is company-wide. It is not limited to just research. It's from research to commercialization, including all the things they need to do in between. So not only does that de-risk any investment right I'm collecting now, but it also allows us to be super competitive as we get going in the next 2 years. We've only recently introduced this opportunity because we wanted to open the round backed on the government grant. We do not have any leads right now. However, I'm in discussions with several back east and in the United States, looking at anywhere from 50,000 to 250,000 take-ins over the next month. So there's still opportunity to come in here. But I'm hoping I kind of piqued your interest. My investors and anyone that eats and understands food, you're good to go with me. So with that, I hope I piqued your interest and we'll go from there.
I want to ask a burning question. Yeah, we've got the timer going is actually the oven in the back of all the delicious food that's going to be cooked up for afterwards. But let's stay on this slide here because you got $600,000. It's going to give you 12 to 18 month runway, get you through to 2025, a number of massive milestones that you're looking to hit along the way. But what are you going to spend your money on to hit these milestones?
Maybe the one way to answer that is to talk about what we're not going to need to do, right? Like I said, we've actually developed one of the things investors always ask me is, I love your product, love your idea. How are you going to get it to the customer, right? So one thing we've done already is we've secured distribution across Canada. We are listed with GFS, Cisco in every major city in Canada already. We have redistribution already set up in the United States. And we have capacity already secured to meet the opportunities I've had, I just set up there. So the milestone and what the funds are going to be used for specifically, right, is to fill that pipeline of that capacity. So it's executing on the opportunity we have on hand here. So that is getting those pilots and trials into reoccurring revenue. That is listing fees, marketing fees, education. That's making sure that there's samples, inventory ordered ahead of the game in retail, because retail is fast. We can never run out. We have to be on the ball and make sure we run with our feet down. Now, the other side of that, right, we have this land and expand type of go-to-market strategy. So we're going to land all these customers, and we're going to continue to land them through brokers, bringing on strategic brokers, bringing on trade shows. But we want to expand in our current ones. And that's what this kind of shows in here as well. We want to actually be able to make sure that any customer we secure, the quickest way you can get to revenue and the quickest way startups can make a profit is by expanding within their own customer base. So 7-Eleven is a good example. You know, we pitched them on a breakfast burrito that had, I think, 45 grams of protein for 350 calories. And they laughed at us on the phone that that wasn't possible. But we cut it for them 2 weeks. They're so excited. We're the only company that's going to co-brand an exclusive with them. So that's going to start next year. They're going to start it locally, and they want to bring it across Canada. We're already in talks now to do a lunch item. So we're going to expand a different SKU. They now want to introduce us to the United States because we think we're the perfect fit for that option in California. So now we're expanding in that territory. So the funds, Aaron, I know I said this probably not as detailed as you liked, but it's really going to be executing on that opportunity and really executing our detailed plan of how to land and expand our products over the next 2 years.
Very exciting opportunity. Thank you, Garrett. Do want to make a quick announcement. Just with next month being the new year, we're all going to be coming back from holidays. School doesn't get in until the 8th, I don't think. So we have moved our VANTEC meeting to the 10th. Okay, so please do remember that it is on the second Wednesday of the month next month. SUV is staying on the 4th though, so that's not changing. It's just this regular VANTEC meeting that will be on January 10th. Please, we have a full room today. It's great to see so many of you here, but please do invite your friends, your guests, anyone that you think would be interested in learning about these exciting opportunities in early stage businesses. And we do have our memberships here. If you're not already a member, we would love to bring you on, whether that's online and you can get access to all of the companies that we have present here and get all of their material and watch the meetings online, or joining in full. If you are a member or a shareholder, I should say, in any of our partner funds, What If, eFund, Weave VC, or Spring, we'll give you a 33% discount. So yeah, we want to grow this ecosystem, bring on as many new members as possible. So please spread the word. Other than that, hope you all have an amazing holiday season. We are going to stick around for some networking. We've got great bites and drinks at the back here. So please stick around. The companies will be here to answer your questions. Full presenters will have their tables set up so you know where to find them. Thank you, everyone.